To the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. For the G's, by the G's, que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo. A huevo. Doesn't matter where you from. Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos, empurgamos. Soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans out there, everywhere you are in the world. Man, we are sending you so much love right now, especially with this team making us feel all warm and fuzzy inside, winning the way they are. Today, we're going to be reacting to wins, the LA Galaxy's 2-1 away win over the San Jose Earthquakes in their first match of the League's Cup, a result which sees them go through to the round of 32 in this tournament already with one match left to play, and a match that sees them get some confidence and flexibility against Chivas de Guadalajara, who they will face on Sunday, August 4th. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. You can find me online at El Escudero de LA, and you can find my written work at Extra Time Talk. And my co-host, as usual, is El Yerno Guapo, El Gitano Perdido, Ananda Kirana. Anandita, I mean, hey, remember last year when we were just getting on pods and it was group therapy and every pod was reacting to a loss? Well, now it's like we get on the pod, it's like, hey, let's talk about another win. I mean, that's got to feel good, right?
It feels good, man. It feels real good, especially just the way the topsy-turvy nature of that game, which I know we're going to get through it. Wasn't the easiest, but we pulled through it, right? And we'll talk about all the different turns and sort of how we got there. But which is funny because, you know, I'm happy, like definitely happy. But it's funny, like, and maybe it's just I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today or whatnot. I remember one of your one-word reactions before was like satisfied or something like to that effect. Like you felt satisfied, right?
Oh, are you about to get petty? I love it. Get it.
So, well, I was just gonna say, like, I'm looking forward to the next. So, like, you know, whether you want to say like next as my one-word reaction or whatever, kind of like next, you know, like kind of thing. Not like we got next, but more like next, like on to the next.
Okay, so swag. It's like, okay, cool. Like they stepped up.
We handle our business professionally, and we move on. Right?
They took a swing at the Kings of California, and they swung and they missed.
I mean, we were 4 out of 4 against these guys. I mean, we are the kings of the Cali Clásico, just like the title of this video says, right? We are in 2024, at least this season, we are the kings of the Cali Clásico. By the way, it does show the disparity between both teams at the moment. Very different story than it's been the past few years. But that aside for a second, yeah, it was one of those where I'm not going to rest too much on my laurels. I'm not going to sing too many high praises. It was a professional performance, and we move on. And that's kind of how
after all,
it's neither good nor bad.
San Jose.
That's part of it. Yeah. But again, I don't want to spoil anything, but that's just kind of how I feel. And that's my one-word match reaction, you know, kind of like next. And speaking of one-word match reactions, chat, go ahead and put yours in the chat as well. Yeah. How do you feel after that match?
Let us know how you're feeling, chat.
And let us know how you're feeling. Pero Roberto, I mean, I'm going to get back to you in a sec. We got a lot of stuff to get to today. So
you're not giving me yours yet?
Well, mine was kind of like next, right? It's kind of like next, like kind of thing like that. That's right, like very simply, not too much emotion. And that's kind of the neutral vibe that I'm trying to throw out in the ether for better or for worse. I have my reasons. I will get to my reasons once we get through the summary.
But housekeeping, I guess, and I'll give you mine.
Yeah, let's do that. So guys and gals, because we do have some females, as for example, the one and only Rocio. So I got to say guys and
What
gals
up,
to be technical
G's?
about this. But you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. And of course, you can find us on all of our socials at La Cuna Galaxiana, and everyone in the chat going back, or even if you're listening to this on playback the day after, the morning after, your car ride after, welcome back. And thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And if you like what you're listening to, give us a shot, guys. Like, give us a subscribe. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and definitely hit up those likes. If you do want to support this channel, that is the best way you can support this channel, is subscribing to this channel and hitting those likes. And of course, as Roberto always says, put someone on and share the love as well. If they need a little LA Galaxy talk and a little LA Galaxy banter, or if they just want to listen to two numbnuts talking about soccer for about an hour or so, that works as well. And of course, Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana.
There it is.
Got a lot to talk about, man. It's Leagues Cup time. We got that first win, but I'm curious now, maybe because I spread the juju or the vibes the wrong way. I'm curious to hear your one-word match reaction, how you felt the morning after, or the day after, I guess.
It's man, it's kind of conflicting because I don't really have a one word, because that game took me through a lot of emotions in which they did things well and they did things not so well. And I guess just the easiest cop out word is relief. Like I didn't want to go into penalties and see those penalties and then walk away with those 2 points, because they did enough, I feel like, to get the 3 points. They just like hadn't gotten it there. But I guess relief.
Okay.
I see the one only Rocio put in flowers in.
I like that one word. If that's your one word,
yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm digging that.
Or I like this one too. It's just simply berry. Or so
Berry.
then, Rob, our one word match reaction
what's
should
up?
be that game was very good. Haha.
It's very good. Or like you said, Miguelito.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you guys, that should have been my one word match reaction, bro.
Yeah, if you guys caught Ananda's post match tweet, it was this un poco loco Miguelito from Coco. And of course, if you guys know Natalia Lafourcade music, there's a song that she has right at the beginning. It's like Miguelito. So that's what I kept on singing all day, because that man Miguelito, he got another game winner.
That's three.
Yep.
That's three in the 89th minute or whatever. I saw that stat that Kevin Acevedo push up or pull up.
I believe that's what people would call clutch, I guess, right? I mean, like, the man scores goals when you need him to. Is he turning into the next Alan Gordon, maybe, like coming on and in the late stages, popping up with that goal when you need it?
Now you've gone too far. No, I'm just kidding. But
hey,
anyways,
I mean, he's making a trend of it, coming on.
Nah, I think that's a step too far, Papa. Let's calmate. We got a ways to go with Miguel.
Oh, okay, but he's starting a good precedent. Coming on, scoring his third goal after the 89th minute. I'm liking it. He's starting to become dependable. Not all the way there yet, like you said, calmate, but you know what? He's trending well. I like it. Yeah, let's get into these announcements really quick, because we do have a San Jose reaction to bring you guys, and then we'll bring you a little bit of information about Chivas coming up on Sunday at the Digs. First and foremost, Luka Knows Heart 10th birthday celebration blood drive. Whether you're a new or old G, part of your history is this man, AJ De La Garza. He's a 3-time MLS Cup champion. Him and his wife are on their way back to host the annual Luka Knows Heart blood drive, benefiting the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles. That'll be on Sunday, August 25th from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the Hudson Houses, Redondo Beach. If you guys don't know the story, this man, AJ, lost a son in 2014. That's when Luka Knows Heart started. At their 20-week appointment with their son, doctors broke the news to the De La Garza family that their son had been born with a congenital heart defect known as a hypoplastic left heart syndrome. I didn't even know that existed before, looking up this information. But unfortunately, Luca was born, and within minutes of his birth, he had open heart surgery, and unfortunately, after weeks of complications and more heart surgeries and being on life support, he passed away a couple weeks later in his parents' arms. But the De La Garzas have, engaged with their community just like this Galaxy community does, and they started a foundation called Luca Knows Heart. It's now in its 10th year, and like I said, they're going to be at the Hudson House on Sunday, August 25th. Go ahead and look up the LA Galaxy Foundation for more information on how you can get involved and how you can do your part and support AJ, just like he brought you some happy memories when he brought you some MLS Cups. So look out for that one, guys. Shout out and thank you to Alex, aka at Siggy _ Eat My Dust, the Streamrollers, and the Nanos from 1-2 Threads. I was speaking with Alex the other day, and I just mentioned offhand, like, oh man, that Glassjaw G's t-shirt that y'all have it's too female, bro. It's too good. And he's just like, oh man, I'll send it to you. Like, what's your size? I was like, nah, come on, man. He's like, yeah, I'll send it to you. And he did. And not only that, Ananda, he sent a bunch of slaps too. They blessed me with a bunch of slaps, and now one of the dopest t-shirts that I have in my collection. Put the needle to the record in D, my G. Thank you so much.
Damn, it is, I gotta get that. I gotta get that somehow. Get my hands on that tee. That tee is fire. It's so funny that I didn't even know you were gonna put it on the agenda today, Rob. And it's so this word serendipitous. Like, I was listening to Glassjaw today during my work day, or during my run, actually, or my little walk.
Man. Awesome. I mean, part of my those records are part of my youth. And I told Alex that I'm gonna be the belle of the ball sport in that one. And anybody that enjoys Glassjaw and is a G, this is a must pick up for sure. Speaking of the Nanos from 1-2 Threads, they're putting on the next blue, white, and gold pop up. It's just a couple of days away now on Saturday, August 3rd, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Absolution Brewing in Torrance. Guys, head out there. You guys saw the t-shirt. These are the kind of things that the 1-2 Threads and all these other independent Galaxy creators put out. They're just putting out heat right now, man. And you guys got to go support it because they're putting in their blood, sweat, and tears and their creativity, and they love the G's, man. Oh, the one and only Real CEO says, Siggy, his birthday is tomorrow. My G, happy birthday, happy early birthday from all of us here at La Cuna Galaxiana. Thank you so much. And man, check out his band too, because they rip real hard. So anyway, thank you to you guys. But yeah, like I said, go ahead and head out to the blue, white, and gold pop-up. A lot of good eats, a lot of good stuff to pick up. Your wallet will hate you, but your heart will love you. So check it out. And then, like I also brought up Absolution Brew. They're reliably now counted on, guys, to have like G events. And I know that the owner is a G, and they pretty much reliably always have watch parties out there. So support Absolution Brew as well. And speaking of brewing companies, LA Riot Squad will be having their first Fridays at McLeod Ale Brewing Company in Van Nuys. That's this Friday, August 2nd at 7 p.m. All G's are welcome. Excuse me, guys. I got a little bit in my feelings because all the G's coming together. But so go ahead and hit up this first Friday's event with LA Riot Squad. Just a week later, ACB's throwing a barbecue at the Whittier Narrows on August 10th at 11 a.m. There's going to be food, music, games. All G's are welcome. And just like last time, Ananda, there's going to be a salsa competition. And just like last time, I will query, is it going to be like Mark Anthony salsa or like Tapatio salsa? That's I think they told us it was like Tapatio salsa. But anyway, I wonder if we should put in an entry, La Cuna Galaxiana salsa. I wonder if we should make it happen, bro.
Yeah. Something we should look at. I know I can't make salsa. That's for dang sure. Ananda was like, better half.
Ananda was like, yeah, you should take care of that, bro. Okay, so maybe not salsa, but maybe we go and say what's up to all the ACBers, all the supporter groups. What's up, guys? Thank you guys so much for helping us out and showing us some love. So anyway, go ahead and hit up that ACB barbecue on August 10th, and hit up the salsa competition. And I'm sure there's going to be good music as well. So good salsa and good salsa. Speaking of having some good salsa, Mathis Albert had some good salsa for sure. So much good salsa indeed that he has earned a move to Dortmund. The Galaxy U15 is highly, highly touted. Scouts had been watching for a little bit. There was reports that a lot of scouts rate him even higher than Philly's Kevin Sullivan, who just made his debut in MLS as the youngest player. Mathis Albert scored 30 goals last season for club and country. The one thing that I wasn't able to pick up any information on Ananda is what, if anything, the Galaxy got back for him, because this was a highly talented player. I mean, he's 15, and we've seen that Greg is giving young players a chance. I mean, Harbor Miller was in the CVI at 16 at the beginning of the year. Is there Parente is out there? Tucker Lepley's out there. So who knows if he had, maybe just like another year to wait until he was in that first team. But yeah, guys, as soon as we know something on what, if anything, the Galaxy got back from, we'll update you on that one. But in the meantime, congratulations to Mathis Albert for his move to Dortmund. I mean, Dortmund is one of those clubs that do exceedingly well at developing players. I mean, you've had amazing players come out of there. I mean, who do you got, Ananda? I mean, just name your top 3 Dortmund academy players that have come out of there, man.
Academy players? I don't know if they were academy players.
Well, that have come out of Dortmund. Sorry, I didn't mean to say academy players.
Yeah,
that have played for Dortmund.
I mean, obviously the guy that's going to be coming to our squad, hopefully in the next, day or week or so. The blonde assassin there, Marco Reus. I mean, look, even though he's one of your galads, I mean, every time he puts on the Dortmund shirt, I don't know what it is, but Jadon Sancho turns into another animal when he puts on that shirt. I mean, they've had a lot of good, Mario Götze. I mean, there's so many throughout the years, man. So Mathis Albert is going to be one of those, and he's in a very good developmental system. That's the type of system he needs to be in. They promote from within their younger players, especially through the academy, or just younger talent throughout Germany, especially. And if I'm not mistaken, I also heard that he has European parents, so that's why it's easy for him to make that switch or move as well. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see what this player looks like in 3 years. Something that I just caught is that the one and only Real Seal said it's Ziggy's wife's birthday too. That's really incredible. Being married to someone and sharing the same birthday, that must be a really, really fun day for them. So happy birthday to both of them. Dang, now I want to have like a birthday celebration for him. The live pod at Applebee's incoming rather. So yeah, congratulations to Mathis Albert. Congratulations to keeping with more academy stuff. Congrats to Ruben Ramos Jr. and the U.S. Men's Youth National Team. The U.S. Under-20 Men's Youth National Team qualified for the 2025 FIFA U20 World Cup with a 1-0 win against Guatemala in the quarterfinal of the U20 Championship, CONCACAF U20 Championship, in Estadio León on Tuesday. Ruben Ramos Jr. scored the only goal, a curling golazo in the 49th minute. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it on, but it's a peach of a goal. You can tell this kid, I mean, 17, he has that nose, and I mean, just imagine that finesse plus shot. That was Ruben Ramos on this one, man. The U.S. Men's Youth National Team was cruising towards a win, and then they gave up a 90-minute penalty. Luckily, goalkeeper Adam Beaudry saves, and they earned that 1-0 win, and they will now head off to the semifinal. And like I said, they qualified for that U20 World Cup. Congratulations to them. Keeping with more academy stuff, because the rumor that we brought you last time that was not official but almost official is now official. Try saying that 5 times fast. Jonny Perez is now a Nashville SC player. The pride of Pico is in Tennessee. Hopefully he starts to find the good barbecue spots and the good music spots, because he will be there for up to 18 months. He leaves on loan for the remainder of the season. Nashville SC holds an option to permanently acquire Jonny in exchange for the super draft priority of Liam McKinnon, who was their 2024 draft selection. The Galaxy also have the right to recall Jonny from his loan during the summer of 2025. And the phrasing of what Will said here in a moment makes it seem like they'll probably do that. Jonny, of course, he's 21. He has 1 assist in 19 career appearances, 4 starts across all competitions for the Galaxy in 4 seasons with the club. And Will Kuntz had this to say of him. This loan is a great opportunity for Jonny to not only receive more first-team experience, but to do so in a quality MLS environment. We wish Jonny the best in Nashville over the next 12 months. So from Will's phrasing, it seems like, they'll bring him back in the summer of 2025. That's what their plan is. Come on, man said Jonny will appreciate the tax break. Hey, sack those chips, Jonny. But yeah, it sounds like they're going to bring him back. So I don't see a downside to this, Ananda. I mean, they're letting Jonny go to a place where he's going to get more minutes. He's going to develop an MLS quality, environment. And, he's not just going to be sitting around on the bench. I mean, have I missed it? Have I overlooked it? Are you seeing the downside to this at all?
No, like I said, no downside. And again, the biggest thing is that's the domino piece that we need to fall to officially acquire Royce, right? With all the salary cap things. So again, I think all positives here. Worst case scenario is that we do decide to sell him to Nashville, and at least we're going to get, something in the end with that obligation to buy, or that buying clause, or the clause buy in that contract. So that's the ultimate worst case scenario. But again, there's flexibility, and that's what you want. Especially in Will Kuntz's shoes as a GM, you want flexibility in making future decisions for the club.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him. Super cool guy. We got to meet him at the Riot Squad Christmas party last year. His entire family was there, so I mean, he was out and about in the Galaxy community. Nashville, take care of him. He's great guy, great kid, and he cares about his Galaxy community. We'll miss you. We'll see you in a year, Jonny. Kill it. Once a G, all's a G. But like you said, Ananda, that was the domino piece that needed to fall to bring in that what did you call him? The
blonde assassin.
The blonde assassin. Where did that come from? The blonde assassin.
I don't know. Just kind of maybe I heard a couple things from some other podcasts, and I put 2 and 2 together, and I jumbled it together. So there you go.
GCam, very wise, is in his feels right now, maybe, but he says if you love someone, sometimes you got to let them go. Hope the dude gets some valuable playing time and develops into an even better baller. GCam, I'm in my feels too. I'm gonna miss Jonny, but it is what it is. Like I said, there's really no downside here for the Galaxy.
GCam said that he was feeling a little under the weather, so maybe it's the Robitussin kicking in. GCam, recover well, my friend.
Oh, sipping on some scissor. Okay. Well, guys, it's time to get into this match reaction here. The Galaxy did win their first match of the League Cup 2-1. Beginning of their League's Cup campaign, they earned a 2-1 win in San Jose in the Bay at PayPal Park on Wednesday night, or as the Galaxy said, Dignity Health Sports Park North. Because
Love it.
I mean, the petty was off the charts. Yeah, it was nice. Novak Micovic had a strong showing in his first start since the Galaxy's loss away to Chicago. Diego Fagundes notched his 5th goal of the season and goal of the match day to put the Galaxy ahead in the first half. And Miguel Berry scored late, his 3rd of the year, as the Galaxy advanced to the round of 32 of the competition. They will now close out the League's Cup group stage, like we said at the top of the show, by squaring off Club Deportivo Guadalajara with the assurance that they are going through. The only thing up in the air right now is if they will go through at the top of the group or in second of the group. In his first appearance for the Galaxy dating back to May 25th, Senor Gaston Brugman, he logged 18 minutes of action in the victory against the Earthquakes. Guys, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. We don't want to spoil anything. The Galaxy are unbeaten in 4 matches played across all competitions against the Quakes in 2024. 4-0. I mean, that's man, that's gotta hurt. The Galaxy has won 5 consecutive matches played against the Earthquakes across all competitions, dating back to August 30th, 2023. LA is also unbeaten in its last 7 matches played on the road across all competitions against San Jose, dating back to June 26, 2021. So they're establishing quite a pattern of dominance. Ananda, what do you suppose this is doing to like that San Jose psyche? That I mean, it's copying automatic L's from the Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't, especially amongst the fan base, more so than the players and the staff, right? Because I mean, I don't know what's going on in the back room too. That, obviously with the ownership and everything, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother can of worms. But I could imagine in that fan base with the San Jose Ultras and then all the other fans that they have, man, I'm sure it is just gut wrenching. I mean, I've been there before. We've been there before, right? We were just there last year and the years before that as well. So, but at the end of the day, like, it's funny because we looked at this as a trap game, right? Coming into it. So on the Galaxy side, I think, yeah, we can be confident. Like, we won't play them again this year, unless we see them in the playoffs, of course, which could be a possibility. Could be a first round, right? You don't think they'll make the playoffs? Yeah,
no, they won't.
Probably not. Maybe they they may make a miraculous run. I doubt it. But so we probably won't see them again this year. We'll probably see them next year. But like I said before, the biggest thing this represents to me is the golfing class now between the two clubs. And there's two clubs now going completely opposite directions. And that's what it represents for me more than anything.
Well, in this match, guys, of course, we bring you defending the badge pretty much every time there's a match. But this one was really hard. I mean, Ananda and I actually sat after the show and spoke about it for a little while, or after the game rather. And we felt bad excluding a couple of these players because they had tremendous matches. We do have an official 4, but we do have a defending the badge honorable mentions this week because there were some good performances all around. Gabriel Peck is one of them. He recorded his 11th assist and 26 matches played across all competitions in his last 10 games dating back to June 15th. He has 13 goal contributions, 6 goals and 7 assists. Mickey Yamane, man, that one hurt to leave him off the defending the badge. He had an incredible match, tallied an assist, recorded a game high 6 chances, completed 95% of his passes, won 4 duels, and won 5 possessions in the win over San Jose. That assist, I mean, as good as Ricky's pass was, the assist was a dime as well. So yeah, I mean, just really quick shout out to them. They put in defending the badge type performances, and unfortunately, we can only pick 4. So it is what it is. But we'll get into those 4 in a little bit. And now let's start where we always start. What do you think of this lineup going in?
I was happy about it. If you guys followed me on Twitter and saw my tweet, I was happy. I called for a strong lineup, remember, coming into this, and I got my wish. And it was basically the last lineup that we saw from the Portland game, which was the last game before we head into Leagues Cup. But of course, as I talked about even in my tweet, Micovic, I potentially saw a Micovic entry there as the starter, and he did.
We spoke about it on the pod, right?
And he played a really good game. Yeah, we spoke about it on the pod as well. That was sort of one of my question marks, but I was okay with either. So yeah, other than that, nothing surprising, right? And then of course, this is important now because we got to talk about the bench. You had the likes of Gaston Brugman, who was back on the bench. You had Miguel Berry, who, of course, San Miguelito at this point.
Miguelito.
And then we didn't use him, but, we had Garces on the bench as well. McCarthy is the backup. Leplin, Parente. Hopefully, we'll see some game time from them the next match. But, yeah, again, the lineup was not surprising. Anything on your end that you saw? Or it was, I mean, honestly, it was a lot of what we talked about in the last pod.
I didn't engage with any of this, but I know the Podfather did. Shout out Josh. He had a bunch of people questioning, like, why are there 2 goalkeepers on the bench? Why are there 2 goalkeepers on the bench? Like, I saw a bunch of chatter. I mean, because obviously John McCarthy and Brady Scott were on the bench,
right?
And it was like this thing, like, why are there 2 goalkeepers on the bench? Like, because they put 2 goalkeepers on the bench, man. Like, I mean, they're. I looked at this Galaxy squad today, man. They are thin. I mean, they do need some bodies, and so
yeah.
I was even thinking about, like, okay, maybe they can put in somebody like Ruben Ramos in that Chivas game, and Ruben Ramos is away.
Yeah,
exactly, right? So it's they're a little thin. So but anyway, this one was kind of bland, Ananda, to start. I mean, I really saw a match in which San Jose was kind of holding their own for the first 40 minutes, and then if we're gonna say San Miguelito, we got to throw up San Dieguito as well, bro, because he just took a moment of magic and quality in the 41st minute, and he just, I mean, banger, certified banger, curling golazo. I mean, we spoke about Ruben Ramos finesse plus earlier. This was Dieguito finesse plus. I mean, he just I mean, actually, I want to get your impressions on this goal. What'd you see on this one?
Yeah, I mean, just Diego just pulling a rabbit out of the hat, to be honest, because it seemed just like a normal break. He got the ball in the left side there, sort of or in the corner of the 16, and I heard Josh and Hammer talk about this in Corner of the Galaxy, so I do want to bring this up too because it is important. Let's talk about John Nelson in this play, because John Nelson was the decoy that allowed Diego to create that space. The defender got distracted by John Nelson's run, which, by the way, a very dangerous overlapping run, which John Nelson doesn't do a lot of, but the one time that he recognized the situation well and he made the overlap, and then Diego said, well, you know what? You're going to give me the space. Let me take off this curling effort. And what did he say post-match to you guys? Like, it was good to know that his hips were still working or something like that. Right.
Right.
Hips don't lie, Shakira style, right? Kind of thing. But hey, man, those hips be working, son, because man, what a banger to the far post. And it's funny because I was making food at the time with my wife, kind of having the game on the TV, and then all of a sudden I'm like, mira Dieguito, vamos. And then he puts in that curler. I'm like, that's eso es, vamos. Like, we're super happy. Of course, like my wife's a huge fan of Dieguito as well. So we were very happy. And Rob, it's funny because we had this conversation a few pods ago. I heard Hammer and Josh have this conversation on Corner of the Galaxy. Josh argues that he might be the MVP of this team, Robert. Not the most talented, right? But the MVP. And with the way Dieguito's been playing this year, remember when Ricky was out, he's filled in admirably for him. Man, Dieguito's been more than clutch. Like, he's been absolutely worth the price tag, worth the salary that everyone doubted in the beginning of the season, right? So, bravo, Diego.
I have more positive feelings towards that statement than negative feelings. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, it's of course, you have Gabriel Pecky, you have JP, you have Ricky Puig, carrying offensive loads, but you really just, I mean, who's the guy I've spoken about most often this year is Mark Delgado, like just being the great balancer, so between both of them, between Dieguito and Mark Delgado, like I think it's between them two for MVP of this team.
I'll tell you what, though, Delgado did not have a good start to this game. I even wrote in my I have like a running log of game notes of things that I'm noticing throughout the game. In the first half, I wrote that Mark Delgado has started this game very slow.
A couple of his passes were
did not have a good start to the game. But then again, I don't know if it was him or the pitch, because I even tweeted about this, bro. Like, we were playing at Slip and Slide Park last night because the pitch was god awful.
Terrible.
It looked like the park, like down the street from where I live, like with all these potholes in it. You could see it too on the broadcast, right? There's so many patches of just brown, like, dirt, basically. Horrible. Everyone was just slipping and sliding everywhere. So yeah, that was not fun. But the goal was absolutely fun, for sure.
It was a banger. Like you said, good to see his hips still work. Those hips don't lie. Start calling Dieguito La Shaki. Earlier it was Maluma for the blonde hair. I think I'm gonna switch it from one Colombian singer to another. Now he's La Shaki because those hips did not lie. He puts the Galaxy up 1-0 in the 41st minute. They go into the half 1-0. To be honest, I mean, they didn't create a lot in the first half. They forced a double save at a William Yarbrough early. Yarbrough, or as La Mosca dubbed him, Chili Willy, came up with a huge double save, took one to the face, and was down for a couple moments. But then, in that first half, Novak Micovic also came up with a couple of big saves himself. And so, it was kind of like a goalkeeper duel right there. So I think, against a more clinical team, the Galaxy actually is down in this match to go into the half.
Ooh, I'm so glad you brought that up, Rodder. I'm gonna bring that up later. Trust me. And by the way, this kind of I kind of disagree with you a little bit on the fact that you thought it was a boring sort of first 40 minutes. I actually didn't, because there was chances on both ends, but just good goalkeeping on both ends as well. There were definitely chances. It was a little bit of a chess match, but to me, at least for my eye test, not as boring as I think maybe you felt about it.
I just didn't see them playing their soccer, and that's what kind of took me out of it. Is that I could tell that they weren't trusting the process, quote unquote. They weren't playing their game. They weren't being patient. And like I said, there was, aside from that double save from Yarborough, I think there was a one-on-one that JP had as well. I mean, that might have been in the second half. I'm not sure, but I don't really think they got that much other than that in the first half, other than Diego's. Novak, he faced 3, I believe, in the first half that he had good saves on. So that's what I kind of mean, is that's what kind of took me out of it, is that they just weren't playing their game. In the second half, the Galaxy, it seemed like kind of we're trying to manage this match, kind of trying to see it out. Yes, they were attacking, but they weren't. It was like you say about Greg, not risk averse. He makes a substitution for Edwin Cerillo. He brings in Gaston Brugman for his first minutes back from injury and the green card process. And you spoke about Mark maybe not having a good start to the match. Neither did Gaston. He puts in a foul almost immediately. A couple moments later, he gives the ball away deep in the Galaxy's half. San Jose picks it up. Carlos Grueso feeds Jeremy Ebobisse. Ebobisse scores to tie it up. And really, it was kind of like nervy time for the Galaxy after that, because this was in the 75th minute. They had 15 minutes to get that winner or go to penalties, where it's up to God and luck at that point. Fortunately, these and the broadcast actually called this out, how San Jose went to a back 5, and they didn't look assured in the back 5. They were just kind of trying to hold on. And fortunately, the Galaxy's quality saw out. They gave Ricky Puig time on the ball. He sprays it over to the top on the right. Mickey Yamane one touches, squares it for Miguel Berry. Miguelito, game, set, match, 2-1. He gets his third of the year. Galaxy win. They're through to the last 32. And that's the story of the match. But Ananda, that's the story of the match. What are the also I like the happiness right there. I mean, I like the fact that Jalen is keeping it real strong right there. I like the happiness on Mauricio Cuevas. I mean, look at Greg, man. I mean, last year I was so bummed to see him so bummed, and this year he was like so happy. And of course, he has his arms around our favorite Don Raul 96, who just celebrated a birthday. Maybe we should all get Don Raul a Raquinho plushie, and we should send it to him from La Cuna Galaxiana. So anyway, like I said, that was the story of the match. Ananda, do you have the numbers of the match? Some stats that brought this win home?
I do. So let me pull that up now, and I will narrate for the audio listeners. But those of you on YouTube right now and on playback, so LA Galaxy there on the right, San Jose on the left. Yep. I mean, pretty dominant match from a statistics point of view, Robert. 61% possession to the 39% possession for San Jose. Galaxy had 20 total shots versus San Jose's 14. 9 of ours were on target, while only 4 of theirs were on target. Again, we had a higher volume of shots. But here's the thing, 5 big chances to 0. This number kind of surprised me a little bit, Rob, because if I think about a lot of the chances in the first half, especially that San Jose had, Bobasi had one, Pellegrino had a couple. Even your countryman Carlos Grueso had one as well. So there were definitely some few chances. I'm surprised they didn't call them out as big chances. To me, they were big chances. I felt like it. So that number is a little surprising, but nonetheless, we had the better of the big chances. And then passing wise, again, very typical passing dominant performance by the LA Galaxy. 608 accurate passes versus 343 to San Jose. So yeah, I mean, again, on the stat line, we were the dominant team. I wish we could have made a little more breathing room for ourselves and finished a lot of big chances. The one thing that I failed to call out was we missed 4 big chances out of those 5, Rob. So that's something we've got to, as we progress through the stages, something we've got to clean up.
JP with another one, like I said.
I'm going to come back to that point a little bit later. I know we've got one of our talking points here, but yeah, again, statistically dominant performance by the LA Galaxy.
How many one-on-ones has JP missed this year, man? I love him, but I mean, imagine how many goals he'd have if he had buried those. Really quick, before we go on, I want to just show some love to this chat. You guys are here. You guys are lovely. You guys are on fire tonight. Thank you so much. Shout out to Raul G. Shout out to Big Matt at comments. Happy birthday to Victor B's bro, Dixon Mayaz. It's Chris is all up in the chat. What's up? What's up?
Happy birthday, Victor B's bro.
Yeah, for sure. It's Chris says, I know it's still early, but if we happen to win Supporter Shield or MLS Cup, the Galaxy should fly Jonny back home. They should fly all of us out and have a big party. Un fiestón, un pinche cumbión bien loco for sure. Anyway, so Miguel El Talisman, Barry, El Santo de la Buena Suerte, Gary Cambrone, G Cam says, what I've been saying, La Suerte del Campeón, the Galaxy, if they're going to take this title, if they're going to take Supporter Shield, if they're going to take anything this year, they need a little bit of Suerte del Campeón. So anyway, let's look at some Matt's stats after the fact here. In 3 all-time Leagues Cup matches played, the Galaxy holds a 1-2-0 record. If you guys remember, they were one of the first clubs to play a Leagues Cup match when it was just an exhibition still. In 27 matches played across all competitions this year, they hold a 15-5-7 record, 52 goals for, 38 against. That includes MLS league matches as well, obviously, and 10 games played across all competitions dating back to June 15th. They hold an 8-2-0 record. However, the one blemish that I'm sure Greg is kind of like staying up at night about, and I know I am, because to win MLS Cup, they'll need to improve this. The Galaxy have not kept a clean sheet in 6 matches. So they pulled off 2 in a row at one point, and now they have not picked up another clean sheet. But a big part of that is defense. A big part of that is goalkeeping. And we spoke earlier about Novak Micovic picking up his first start since that 2-1 loss to Chicago. I believe it was at the start of June. So he had a pretty good performance. We did speak about a couple of good saves that he had in the first half. To be honest, I mean, I look at those saves and I say McCarthy makes them as well. But Ananda, you wanted to call out a different area of his performance that kind of overtook McCarthy's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you felt, and guys in the chat and gals in the chat, let us know as well what you think. But again, this is just from my eye test. He just felt more comfortable on the ball. Robert, you know my thing with John McCarthy, ABT, always be throwing, right? Because
always be throwing.
For the most part, when he kicks the ball, it doesn't go to the place that we want it to go. A lot of the times, to be honest with you, it just goes straight out of bounds, right? And it's just kind of like, all right, let's just get it out of danger. He kind of plays a little more risk averse as well, because he just knows he doesn't have the technique. And I think we could see that too. He's very uncomfortable when the ball goes back to him in certain situations. He just kind of kicks it out, which is fine because he knows his limits, right? In terms of, what he is as a goalkeeper. He's a shot stopper goalkeeper first. He's that type of guy. He's not one of these new evolution of keepers that play with their feet, a la your Edersons, your Allisons, your sweeper keepers like Manuel Neuer. He's not that type of person. Novak, on the other hand, though, again, just for my eye test, he just looks so much more comfortable on the ball. It's funny because he has a weird technique. I don't know. He has this, like, the way he approaches the ball. I don't know if it's just me, but he has like a weird technique, but it works for him, right? It's kind of this long, languid style. But he boots it, and he boots it usually in a good spot. Look This is only a match sample size of one match. But I mean, in this match, Robert, he had 19 of 23 accurate passes, 4 out of 8 long balls, which is 50%, which is pretty darn good. 3 saves, 0 on the goals prevented. So post shot XG. So pretty even keel there. And I mean, you look at the distribution, I'm really focusing on that distribution part. You know, McCarthy in the year, his long ball completion has only been about 29%. So again, it's going to be interesting. And I flash it up on the screen there. You know, I put, can Micovic regionally challenge McCarthy for that #1 spot? I don't know about this year, maybe, because I think you're going to need McCarthy's experience down the stretch and into MLS Cup. But I can see conceivably in this future, this kid, I think, has a future. I think we've got to try to fit in some more game time for him if we can, because I like the way, for me, the way we play out of the back, which is a Greg Vanney system. You break out of the press, you feed into your midfielders or your center backs, and you distribute instead of kicking it long. I think that's the way Greg would like to play ideally, and I'm not sure McCarthy is that type of suitable keeper for that system. I think Micovic, though, definitely is. He looks a little more comfortable on the ball, and it kind of showed in even some of the stats. Again, 1 game sample size, but I like the way he looks from my eye test.
I mean, I've liked the way he looked whenever we've seen him. To be honest, he hasn't looked bad. We just haven't seen him a lot. But you know, there's a reason the Galaxy paid $1 million for him. You know, first they had him on loan, and then they actually paid to make that permanent, and they paid $1 million for him. You know, I think he looks really good too. I mean, he looked confident on the ball. I mean,
yeah.
The one thing that we keep on saying about John McCarthy is that he's a great shot stopper. I mean, Micovic did plenty fine as a shot stopper as well. We called it at the beginning of the year, you know, who was going to be the starting goalkeeper, and then Greg finally cleared up that it was going to be John McCarthy at one point. But I mean, we did question who was going to be the starter. So I mean, if Micovic doesn't become or get more starts this year, I mean, John McCarthy's got to feel that he's at least breathing down his neck a little bit, right? Because I don't see that too much of a drop off, and I mean those are the things you got to consider when, you know, deciding who's going to stay, who's going to go. You know, like, okay, if we jettison this player, you know, is there a drop off? Is there not a drop off? And I like the fact that they're challenging each other. I like the fact that you know, the Galaxy have 2 very, very capable goalkeepers. So yeah, I mean,
well, one thing I want to say too on this is I'd love to see him live the next time. I don't think I'm going to go to this weekend's game, unfortunately, but as we progress through the League's Cup, I'd like to see him live for a couple of reasons, Rob. 2 things, and this is 2 things that John McCarthy is really, really good at, which is the commanding of his box and the communication between him and his back line. Right. I think that's something that Micovic, because he's not as experienced as John McCarthy, I think that's something he's going to need to develop in his game. So I'd be curious I'm going to pay a little more attention to that, actually, now that we brought it up, is, you know, how does he communicate with the back line? Does he command the box? Is he that box presence that we need with his back four? So yeah, that's going to be something for me to watch for sure.
Yeah, well, we did talk about it in the last pod. You know, would Greg make the call in you know, starting him? He did. I believe he's going to make the call to start him again, especially with nothing to play for. I mean, we'll speak about the lineup here in a moment, but we may even see Brady Scott. Who knows? But you know, Greg did make that call. He started Micovic, and you know, that's what Greg gets the big bucks to do, to make those calls. He made another call in this game that got very much scrutinized, and it was the insertion of Gaston Brugman for Edwin Cerillo when the Galaxy was 1-0 up. He brings back Gaston Brugman for his first minutes since his injuries, since he went and got his green card, and I think that well, I'll just read you what Greg Vanney had to say to us post game. He said, and I quote, "I think obviously he," meaning Gaston, "would say he had a rough start right at the beginning, just taking a little bit of a risk and flicking that ball in the middle of the field that turned in the transition and goal for San Jose. After that, I thought he settled in a little bit more and just caught the tempo of the game and started to complete passes and do the things he's capable of doing." And then, as if he remembered, Greg also said, also stepped in and committed the foul right off the bat too. So yeah, he came in. I don't think he had the speed of the game yet. He came in, made the immediate foul, gave up the ball, I believe, once, and then had the back heel that led to the goal. So he came in, and his first couple minutes, Ananda, were absolutely rough. And for as much as I've been hammering home the point that we got to give Greg his flowers when he gets it right. This one, he didn't get right. And the Galaxy community, the Galaxy fans out there, wanted to let him hear it. So, Ananda, without further ado, Mike Gray, el amigo Miguel Gris, says there have been times this year when Greg makes inspired game-changing subs. Cerillo for Brugman was a mistake. I agree. LA Galaxy 310 says, "Oh, this is a subtweet to LA Galaxy's tweet of goal, them." LA Galaxy 310 says, "I know he's been out, but my God, Brugman has been bad." Corner of the Galaxy, the Podfather at Galaxy Podcast says Brugman had some bad moments and some better ones towards the end there. Hasn't played competitive minutes since May 25th. You're going to need him down the stretch, so get him some time in this tournament. You'll see him again on Sunday. I agree. I'd be very surprised if we don't see him for at least a full half. And then To Live and Die in LA at Galaxy Fan 96 says Brugman can play all the minutes he wants on Sunday. G's are through to the next round. To which Josh subtweeted, "That's not how getting guys game ready works. It's 30 minutes tonight. It's 45 minutes on Sunday. It's 60, 75 next game. You can't just jam him in. You won't have him ready to play." That's what I just said. Probably about 45 minutes on Sunday. Yeah. And anything else from the peoples out there, Ananda?
Nope, that was the last one.
Well, the Galaxy were able to overcome that Gaston gaff. The pretty big Gaston gaff, to get that late winner through Miguel Berry, San Miguelito. And, it just, they get the win. They're through the next 32. They did what they needed to do. And so I guess the question now, Ananda, is, are you in the boat?
What boat is that?
The Ricky and Diego boat, man.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yep. This boat right here.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be in the boat and rowing towards the winning of the League's Cup. And this one is for the chat too. If you already kind of felt like the Galaxy had the chance to win this tournament, maybe not so much. But if you're one of those ones that were saying the Galaxy don't have enough to win this tournament, or i.e. didn't even care about this tournament, did this game change your belief level of the Galaxy winning this competition? So chat, let us know what you thought about this win. If you thought after this win the Galaxy can win this competition. What about you, Ananda? I know it was an ugly game, but the Galaxy got it done. Are you in the boat?
Yeah, real quick, just to round out that last point too about Gaston. It's funny because I just wanted to say, for what it's worth, at that time I was also kind of like, ooh, maybe that was a tough call of like bringing Gaston in at that moment of the game, and not sure if it was the right one. But then the day after, I read a lot of the discourse between Josh and like some of the folks, and I actually agree with Josh. I mean, at the end, it's Greg did what he had to do with bringing back Gaston, right, in those situations, because we're going to need him. And I think it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And as I said in my tweet, hindsight's always 20/20. Just happy that we had enough attacking power to finish off that game, right? So that was the biggest thing. But so again, for what it's worth, I kind of changed my mind. I think sometimes that happens, like when we're fans and we watch the game live, we're in the heat of the moment and we second guess ourselves because we're frustrated that we've given up a lead, right? And potentially we'd be going to a precarious situation. We're going to penalties and we're not through the next round, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, all ended well at the end. But actually, Rob, for this question, I want to hear because I had a thought about this today, and this is kind of going back to like my one-word reaction about like next, like move on to the next, like let's forget about this one and just move on as a professional performance, but nothing to write home about. And it kind of feeds into that a little bit, but I'm curious to hear like what you're thinking. Like, has your opinion changed at all from last night's performance, or are you kind of still in the same boat? Like, yeah, we can go deep in this tournament. We have a chance of winning it. I wouldn't go all out for it, etc.
First on Gaston and Greg's choice. Yeah, no, you're. I mean, everyone's right. I mean, you and Josh are right, rather than everybody. But you need to bring him back slowly. You needed to get him minutes. I understand that. What I think the fault lied in substituting him for Edwin Cerillo and perhaps not Mark, because Edwin would have given you that cover that you needed, and then you advance Gaston a little bit, who we've spoken about does fantastic when he's a little bit more advanced and he can play the ball through the lines. So I think that's where the fault lied for me. I would have taken off Mark. However, in regards to your question, are you in the boat? I mean, I always was. I mean, I think on paper they can be any team in MLS, and I believe any team in MLS can beat any Liga MX team on any given day. So yeah, I believe they can win this tournament. The key is what we called out last pod, in that can they win 6 straight to go ahead and win this tournament? I mean, they won one, but Greg spoke a bunch about how if you make one mistake, you could potentially be out. Well, they made that mistake. Fortunately, they were able to recover. I don't believe you can make those kind of mistakes against, a Monterrey or a Columbus, because they will punish you, and then you're out of the tournament. So, like I said, can they win this tournament? Yes. On present form, will they win this tournament? I don't believe. No, I believe at some point they'll make a mistake, and even if they win that fourth game, fourth game in a row in this tournament, which would actually make it, like, I believe 7 in a row for them if they actually did get to the fourth game in this tournament. You still got to win the semifinal and the final, and these mistakes are not going to let you do that. So
yeah, I like these points.
I'm in the boat.
I like these points that chat are made, but you're in the boat, but you're not in the boat for necessarily us. Will we win Leagues Cup? Because I think you're kind of on the fence about that. Progressing through the knockout stages and getting further along in the competition, probably. And that's where I'm at too. But I want to bring up some of these points in chat because it's along the lines of what I'm thinking. GCam says sustained success against the teams in the next round, both be it Liga MX or MLS, is the true litmus test. Correct. Comment says, I think we should go for a good practice for MLS Cup. Exactly. And that's sort of the point that I made last time. I think we posted a clip about it as well. It's kind
we did post a clip about that.
I like the way you phrased it, which was it's a dress rehearsal for MLS Cup. I really like this point from the one and only Rocio. I feel we can definitely win Leagues Cup, but we have to stop making these mistakes that are costing us. Our defense is our weakest link, so we got to work on that. So to that point, and this is what this game kind of maybe reaffirmed or confirmed for me, is that I think to win this tournament and to win a tournament like MLS Cup, we've got to perform more consistently over the 90 minutes. Sometimes we have these lapses, right? Like, let me explain. Like in the first half, for example, offensively, I mean, Rob, even that opening chance with Gabi and Ricky, like if it wasn't for that face save, right, from Chili Willy, we would be 1-0 up and we would have been off to the races. Think about it. JP had 2 big chances, Rob. In the first half, he had a free header in the box, which he headed straight to Chili Willy. And he also had that lob. Remember, it was that chance, that one-on-one that you mentioned, and he went like this because he was trying to shoot the keeper. But, go hit it low and hard, far post. I mean, that should normally get it done, right, on a one-on-one chance. But those are, again, against the top teams now. We're talking about the top teams of Liga MX, the top teams of MLS, your Cincinnatis, your LAFCs, your Miamis. You've got to create separation in those games, those critical moments.
And you have to be clinical as well, because
you have to be clinical, right?
You called out the fact that they missed all those big chances. I mean, you can't, you got to take advantage of your chances.
And why is that? Well, in those situations, in those games, I mean, we've talked about it. I remember with the guys from Defenders of the Bank. I mean, they talked about it as well. The margins are super thin. Right at that level, the margins are razor thin, not only offensively with being clinical with chances, but defensively, like the one and only Rocio says, Rob, we've got to limit those errors in the first half. We the chances that San Jose got was from our own doing. That first half, Mark Delgado gave it away in our own box, and that led to, I believe it was the Abobise or the Golazo chance. I couldn't remember, but a lot of their chances was not coming from their good play. It was coming from our own demise. And again, when you're facing those top teams, the margins for error get really small. I'll tell you what, in those situations, Lucha Acosta doesn't miss that chance. Denny Mwanga doesn't miss that chance. Luis Suarez or Messi don't miss that chance. And this is what I'm saying. And I agree with all these points that chat's making. The margins for error, like I said, in those situations are very, very thin. So we've got to clean that up and perform more consistently over the 90 minutes. If they can show me consistency or proof or evidence of that as we progress through the tournament, maybe my opinion on that will change. So I'm on the boat, going back to the question, I'm on the boat that I think we'll get far in this tournament, but there's going to be those games against the top teams where I'm not fully confident that we can get past those games. I mean, we've seen it already this year. We haven't been able to win against LAFC, for example, and some of those games. So we haven't shown that yet, and that's going to be the next level, the next step for this team, I think.
And I've spoken to Greg about it a couple times over the past couple of weeks. You know, he said, what is the next evolution of this team? Being able to be a consistent championship team and winning those kinds of games. So, you know, Galaxy do pull this win off, but it was a little bit labored. Like Ananda said earlier, they probably should have and could have gotten a little bit more separation to make the game easier on themselves, but they get the 3 points. They're into the next round. For me, Ananda, the moment of the match here was Diego's goal. Again, I didn't really feel like they were playing their offensive game in the first half, but then Diego kind of woke them up and brought them back. So do you have a moment of the match, or is that one?
Miguelito, man. I mean, yes, Diego's moment was great, but Miguelito just being at the right place at the right time, giving us the game winner. I mean, enough said, right? Nothing else to be said.
And for his game-winning goal, Miguel Berry is winner defending the badge. Nominees, he scored the game winner. He had his third goal of the year in the 89th minute or later, like I said, starting to become that clutch player. Keep it going, Miguel. We did. I just spoke about Diego's goal being my moment of the match. He is another one of your nominees. He scored the opener, obviously a Golazo in his last 3 appearances across all competitions, dating back to July 17th. La Shaki has recorded 4 goal contributions, 2 goals, and 2 assists. By the way, did you watch this game in English or Spanish?
English, because Moedu was on the call, I believe. In English,
they were.
Yep.
I just gotta say they were acting a fool in Spanish. Oh man, like they were just acting a fool. I believe they called Maya. They said El Capitan Dragon Ball Maya Yoshida, and I was like, did this fool really just say Dragon Ball? So anyway, they were acting a fool up on the Spanish broadcast. Anyway, Ricky Booge is another one of your defending the badge nominees. He was the man of the match. He had a hockey assist for the game winner, completed 88% of his passes, created 5 chances, won 7 duels, and had 3 tackles. And of course, Novak Micovic rounds out the nominees. He had 3 saves in his first start in 2 months, won his first game of 2024. And like we mentioned, he kept the team in it early with a couple good saves. We also mentioned he looked confident and assured. I'd be very surprised if we don't see him again in the second match. But you know what? Again, Greg is the one who gets paid to make those big decisions. So those were your 4 nominees, guys. And you know what? We have picks, but you guys have spoken as well. So before we get into yours, Ananda, who was yours?
Miguelito. Yeah, man, for me it's Miguelito. It's Miguel Berry, because again, for all the flack that this guy gets, I think he, and I'm going to credit Greg too a lot for this. He's really starting to understand his role within the team, and more than anything, he's willing and accepting and humble about what his role is. I think he understands his limitations, and you know, a lot of again, for me, that's part of defending the badge, is just like knowing your place on the team, knowing the role that you have in your team, and also having the humility to accept it, whatever that may be. And I think Greg's been doing a good job coaching him. through that as well, because I'm sure, I mean, I don't know how much he pays attention to, stuff online and stuff like that, but the fact that this guy is going through it, and he's, like I said, he's got 3 goals per Kevin Acevedo. He's got 3 goals in the 89th minute. For a guy where he is on your salary structure to give you that type of production, that's all that we could ever ask for. We know he's not a starting level striker, guys, which is why we're addressing that, I think, in the transfer window. Miguel is what he is, and you know what? He keeps doing this, and he's more than worthy of his salary. So for me, it's got to be Miguelito, man.
Yeah, you should give him his flowers, and I'm glad you did. He's doing it. However, he's not my pick. I'm picking Mickey Yamane. He had a fantastic match. He continues to perform well. I mean, he's. There was at one point in the Spanish broadcast, they were like, "Where is Mickey Yamane? Look how far he is!" And just like, you guys obviously haven't been watching too much of the Galaxy, because that's been Mickey all year. He's very involved in the attack. He's a vital cog in the attack. And at one point earlier in the year, I remember a comment that somebody said, Caligari much better than Mickey, and I think we were very lucky to have Mickey Yamane in this team right now.
Apples and oranges comparison. I mean, you think about all this conversation that we had, Robert. Caligari, Tyler Boyd, right? Dieguito over Tyler Boyd? No way. Well, mira. I think Will Kuntz and like I said, the scouting team, they know what they're doing, and the players have performed, and Greg has put them in the right system, in the right positions. Again, I think that's credit to everyone involved. So yeah, Mickey, man, can't argue with that. Good pick.
Well, you picked Miguelito, I picked Mickey, but the people have spoken, and they agree with you. With 108 million votes, Miguel Berry wins with 42% of the vote. He is your first Leagues Cup defending the badge winner in this year.
Second of the season, Rob. Second of the season. So there you go.
Sheesh. Man, super happy for him. Good guy. And like you said, he knows what he's about. So where does that leave the Galaxy now, guys? After one match, the LA Galaxy leads West 2 group with 3 points. Like we've mentioned a couple times already, they are already assured a spot in the next round. And even cooler or weirder, or kind of, you like to say, serendipitous, the Galaxy holds San Jose's fate in their hands. So if the Galaxy wanted to just be real petty about it, they just roll over and let Chivas win, and San Jose is out. I don't expect that to happen, but they do control San Jose's fate. And then rounding out the group, Chivas, the Galaxy's opponent on Sunday, they have 1 point. They can earn as many as 4 points with the win on Sunday, 3 with a PK shootout win, and will end up in the group with 2 points if they drop another PK shootout, in which case they'll earn another point to end up with 2. Anything short of a Chivas win in regulation sees the Galaxy go through as the group leader. So basically, all they need to do is get even a loss in PKs gets them through as the leader in the group. So that's where you are here in the standings in the Leagues Cup West Group 2. Chivas hadn't really gotten into the meat of their season before this tournament started. They were just 4 games in into La Apertura. I don't know if you know how the Mexican League works in Ananda, but there's 2 tournaments, La Clausura and La Apertura. I believe this just changed, but it used to be that the champion of each tournament then faced each other for the championship to decide who would be the champion that year. I believe they've instituted a playoff system recently, so I'm not 100% how that works. But in the league, Chivas has won 2 in a row. Both those matches have been shutouts. So in the last 3 matches, they have the 2 shutouts and wins in Liga MX, and then, of course, the match against San Jose, which they lost in penalties. The Galaxy has played Chivas before, Ananda, 5 times, actually. This will be the 5th time they meet. The Galaxy lead the series 2-1-1, And the first ever meeting between the clubs, the Galaxy and Chivas played to a 0-0 draw in regulation before they beat Chivas in penalties 5-4 in front of 27,000 people in Chicago at Soldier Field. The two teams played, and I mentioned this earlier, they took part in the League's Cup when it was still just kind of like a brainchild, an exhibition. The two teams played in the first ever soccer match at SoFi Stadium. In that match, I was at that match, and it was cracking a good time, actually. In that match, Galaxy won 2-0 over Chivas in front of about 71,000 fans. So a ton of people were there that day. That was back in almost, pretty quickly approaching 2 years now. That was on August 3rd, 2022. So just a couple of days away from being 2 years ago. Funnily enough, that was one of the days that Jonny Perez kind of announced himself to Galaxy fans by scoring a cracker of a goal, a golazo from distance against Chivas. I mean, I had been living on Jonny for a little while, so I was super happy to see him get minutes in that game. And then he scored that goal, and he caught a little bit of hype. It's kind of sad now that he's in Nashville, but Jonny, come back soon. But anyway, Sunday's match marks the return of your former captain, Javier Chicharito Hernandez, El Chicharito. He'll be back at the digs on Sunday. And actually, that brings me to my next point here on injuries. Ananda, Chicharito has not. Oh, well, he didn't play against San Jose. He was kept out. Fernando Gago, who's Chivas' coach, said that he kept him out as a precaution because he wanted him fit and firing against the LA Galaxy. He did not train well in the preceding days. He's been kind of training individually, and he was pictured with his thigh being bandaged heavily. So it's kind of up in the air on whether he plays against the Galaxy at this point. I know that's why they kept him out against San Jose, because they wanted him to play against the Galaxy, but he played all 4 Apertura matches so far, and again, it doesn't look good because they kept him out against San Jose, and he's pretty bandaged up. So will they see him? Who knows? Carlos Cisneros for Chivas also played in 2 of the 4 matches so far in their campaign. He's out, the left winger. And Raul Martinez, the young center back, who's seen little time, so his injury is not consequential on the team itself. And then your Galaxy injuries, Ananda. What do you got for us?
Yeah, same. The only thing that's not shown on the screen, so of course on the screen it's Dejan and Julian, which we know about. Gaston is no longer a scratch because he played the last game and probably get 45 minutes, as Corner of the Galaxy was saying earlier. The only kind of injury, I don't know if it's a concern or a doubt or touch and go, is Diego, right? Because he left the game early after that hard challenge from Espinosa. Obviously it looked like he rolled his ankle, but not the roll or the level of roll as we saw Leo Messi, for example, in that Copa America final. It's nothing like that. I don't know if you have any updates on him, but I don't think it's as serious. I don't think he left on like a boot or like crutches or anything like that. He was walking, even though gingerly he was walking off. So we'll probably see on that. And again, we'll just have to see game day how that ankle feels. But I don't think it's as serious as it may have seemed or may have looked.
I think Greg post game, he said that he wasn't as concerned after seeing him walk. He's optimistic it's short term and not long term. But yeah, they gotta kind of see day to day. It was an ankle roll, not an ankle sprain. So optimistic that they'll be able to use him for the round of 32. It's Chris says that they weren't calling Mickey Yamane out on his positioning. I agree. I feel like they were more just surprised about where he was. I don't think they were doing it in a negative way. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting when people see the Galaxy play, and they call out things that when you watch this team all the time, you're like, oh, that's not really novel. They were just very surprised on it. Another thing they called out that wifey was in the room when they said it, and she just had to leave the room, so just like perplexed that they said it. She said, and I quote, they obviously don't watch the team, is that they said that Ricky doesn't complain or like remonstrate to his teammates, and literally she had to leave the room. She's like, oh, they obviously don't watch him play because
but as
wifey
JP says, it's all out of love, right? That's
what
JP
it's all out of
says.
love. Yeah. It's all out of love. But yeah, it was just funny because she had to leave. She was like, they obviously don't watch him play. All he does is complain. And I was like, okay, calm down. You don't gotta get upset. But anyway, so that's what we have in the way of injuries, guys. So that brings us to what these potential lineups could be for next match. Ananda, there's a couple things that we've already mentioned that I expect to happen. I expect Micovic to start again, and I also in my notes put Brady Scott ? I mean, I don't think I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we see him either. I mean, it's assured at this point. So, and he's been playing well for VCFC. So why not give him a look in, right?
Yeah, saving those pens. No, I think we are going to go with Micovic. He hasn't played at all this year, really, Rob. So we've got to give Micovic. He's a second string keeper. We've got to keep him, kind of fresh and motivated and continuing this good form. Like I said, he had a good showing last match. Of course, Diego's touch and go, but as I told you, I think we talked about this maybe via text this morning or maybe even yesterday. Like, let's start Cuevas out there. Cuevas has been really good deputizing.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
In the winger position or in right back or even either of the backs. So we can use that as well. We've got a lot of options, and that's the good thing about this Galaxy team right now is that we're not, even if we have one or two injuries, we have good cover, good and willing and able cover as well. So I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think Greg's going to rotate where he can. I mean, obviously, the depth does not exist for him to rotate all 11 players. So some of these players will have to suit up again. But, we did speak about, it was last night, actually. We did speak about Mauricio Cuevas. What role would he take? Would he start in the defense, or would he take up Diego's position and play as a winger? We spoke about the defense. Do we see a Jalen Neal and Amiro Garces partnership to start, or perhaps an Amiro Garces and Martin Cáceres partnership to start? I'm assuming that you give some time to one of your wingers on the bench, and you start Miguel Berry at the 9 or to lead the line. Like we mentioned, Brugman should get about another half. But the big thing that I want to see out of this is Greg giving some minutes to the kids like Tucker and Isaiah. And I don't know if Aaron Bibu's in play, but if he is, I mean, give him some minutes too, man. I mean, like, how big of a thing it could be, for his confidence to say like, yo, I played against Chivas and I did well, I
liked how Parente looked in his cameo. I can't remember exactly what game that is, but man, put him next to Brugman, maybe to close out the game or something like that. Especially if the game isn't in the balance again. You don't want to put these young kids into too high pressure situations, even though granted it doesn't, the game doesn't mean as much. I'm going to go back. I think Matthew asked a really good question, because I was curious about this too, Rob.
I have a Matthew question too that I wanted to call out. So you do yours and I'll do mine.
The implication, maybe we'll just hit this now, but he asked, is there any reason to play hard in this match? Do we get a better seeding in the knockouts for winning? The one thing that one nuance that I wanted to understand was just sort of like the home versus away part of that. If let's say we finish top of the group, do we go away, or does it still matter who gets out of the group in the West 6?
It totally matters what happens in West 6.
So we're not in control of our own destiny, essentially. So it's kind of a less of a nothing or more of a nothing game, I guess.
Well, it's always the goal to lead the group, right? At least psychologically. But and we were going to get into this later, but F it, we might as well get into it now, right? I mean, like there's a lot of permutations that can happen in West 6 that make it so. We don't know. So right now, and let me bring this up because I had this in my notes somewhere. All right. So so Depending on where the Galaxy end up in the group, they'll play the winner or second place of West 6. If they win Group 2, they play in what's called what's classified as the fifth match against second place in Group 6. If they get second in Group 2, they play the winner of Group 6 in match 7. So, and this is from reporting from Justin Rudderman. Shout out Justin. He was able to dig up that if the Galaxy plays Necaxa, who is currently on 0 points in Group 6, they would play at the Digs on Wednesday, August 7th. However, if they play Seattle or Minnesota, they would play on August 8th, and they will travel to each of those teams. And right now, that group is 3-3-0. So Seattle has 3, Minnesota has 3, Necaxa has 0. Minnesota has both games already played, so they're topping out at 3. Necaxa can only top out at 3 because they've can only play
have to win
one
their next
game,
match.
right?
Yep.
Right. So, and Seattle can end up with 6 eventually if they win this match. But Necaxa needs to beat Seattle 2-0 or by 2 goals to win the group. Anything other than that, and the Galaxy travel. So we're looking for Necaxa to beat Seattle. And I believe that game is in Seattle. So Necaxa needs to beat Seattle at home 2-0 for the Galaxy to get that home game on Wednesday the 7th against Necaxa.
So weird, man. Yeah,
I'm seeing that one be a little difficult. I think the Galaxy will probably be traveling to Seattle or Minnesota on the 8th. Yeah. Hopefully it's Minnesota rather than Seattle. Obviously, we've spoken a bunch of times on this pod about the difficulties of going to Seattle. But Matthew, that was your Matthew question. My Matthew question was any news on Dejan. Greg said that they're not going to rush them back. That they're not ready yet. Him and Julian, that they're making progress, but that they're not going to take any risks and they're not going to rush them back. So it doesn't look like we'll get Dejan in any way, shape, or form unless it's in the deeper stage of this tournament, like the semifinals or maybe even the final.
And then I wanted to call out GCam real quick because you put it more eloquently than I did. GCam, maybe you should hop on the mic and get on the pod one time with Rob. You guys take it over, man. But
you and I.
Exactly. Continuing to play Micovic in this tournament is crucial for this dude's development. Couldn't agree more. That's what I was trying to say. I think we've got to continue playing him for developing him. Totally agree, GCam. Hop on my mic, man. You're good.
Yay. So we left off on Chivas, how they would line up. They've been playing a 4-1-4-1. We already, spoke about, would we see Chicharito? We'll probably see Cade Cowell. He's been their best performer so far in Apertura. Right. Roberto Alvarado, he did not start against San Jose. I expect him to start against the Galaxy. And then Jesus Orozco, who has started all of the Apertura matches, did not start against San Jose. I expect him to do so against the Galaxy. Ananda, you actually did some homework and put up some stats for the Chivas through their first 4 matches. Is that correct?
Just like who their Dangermen were. I think you called out a few of them already. We see, Cade Cowell. It's funny. I still think he's a speed merchant, but he's been at least, the highest sort of scoring player in terms of output, goal contributions. He's got 4 and 4. He's also tops the team in chances created at 6 and XG as well. So obviously Cade Cowell is one of their Dangermen, right? But to be honest, I watched the highlights of that. Again, I don't know if the highlights were indicative of how the game went against the Quakes, but he had a lot of chances that he just completely missed. Didn't seem that clinical in front of goal. Again, I've always thought he was a speed merchant. I've always thought he was a little overhyped, but I guess we'll have to see this weekend. Some other names there, some other notables. We know about Chicharito, but as you said, he is touch and go for this weekend. Look out for Victor Guzman and Fernando Beltran, who have also created 5 chances this year. So they might look to unpick the lock there. So, yeah.
It's interesting. You mentioned watching this game, the San Jose Chivas game. What I got out of it is that the Galaxy are the conditions could be perfect for the Galaxy to exploit Chivas, and likewise the conditions could be perfect for Chivas to exploit the Galaxy. And here's what I mean: this Chivas side presses very high, very hard. But if you can break their press, then they're not great in transition.
Which is the
San Jose-
Galaxy's strength. It's been the strength
exactly.
all year.
Like I said, the conditions are there for the Galaxy to get at Chivas. I mean, San Jose's goal came off of the transition. I mean, Cristian Espinosa feeds the ball in from the right. German Bobasi gets a header on it, and they score early. Unfortunately, the other thing that I picked up all game was that Chivas likes to overload the flanks, cross in through the flanks, but not cross, but kind of do like the cut back into the middle. And they tried that a bunch of times in this game, and it didn't work for them until the very, very last moment when Roberto Alvarado got the equalizer for them. So the Galaxy, if they look to exploit the transition, they also got to be careful that they are not exploited in transition on the wings itself. Ananda, we did call out those danger men, Kate Cowell, Armando Gonzalez, and Roberto Alvarado as well. These are going to be the players that the Galaxy need to have mucho cuidado.
Actually, Robert, well, because I did pull up some stats, but of course, the sample size is so small. It's after 4 matches. So read what you want into them. But just to give you guys a little idea of, in terms of where they are in their own league, I took a look at sort of their stats in Liga MX. So this year they're 8th in total XG at 5.4. Again, that's in 4 matches. 5th in big chances at 6. 9th in XG conceded at 4.5. Remember, Liga MX is 18 teams, if I'm not mistaken. So kind of middle of the road. Again, not spectacular. But again, take this with a grain of salt, guys, because it's only 4 games played this year. One thing that was interesting, Rob, no clean sheets in 4. So like you said, I think we have the firepower to get at them, especially in the transition. And then, of course, this is something that I would expect. It's funny. They're ranked 10th in the league in successful tackles per 90 minutes at 11.6 at a 63.5% successful tackle clip. But if you take it into context, that league is much more physical, much more aggressive, I think, probably than MLS. But if you look at, for example, LAFC's number 1 in MLS, but their tackles are at 12.1, which is very, very close to what Chivas has. So look for that level of aggression as well, I think. And that's, for me, to be expected in a Liga MX team. You're always going to face opposition that's always aggressive in the challenge. They always get stuck in. So that's something that the Galaxy, especially when we try to build out of those presses and those build outs, we've got to be careful, right? We don't make those mistakes like Gaston did in the last match.
I'm going to give you a yellow card.
Why is that?
I'm going to fact check you real quick. You said no clean sheets in 4 for Chivas. They actually got clean sheets in their last 2 Liga Apertura matches. Both, I believe they were both 2-0. But yeah, so they have
then fought mob, or my eyes are failing. So there you go, yellow card. I'll take
yellow
the
card.
You see, Gary, you can get on the seat because even like I mess up all the time. So there you go.
Yeah, we mess up all the time. I mean. Players mess up. I mean, hey, it happens. Guys, we are going to ask you for a game prediction, so start dropping those in the chat right now. Go ahead and let us know who you think is going to win this big match on Sunday. It doesn't really count for much in the way that it's a knockout because the Galaxy are already through, but Chivas is definitely going to be playing for something. Greg spoke about these occasions, these matches where the energy is up, where it simulates like a playoff match, and it is a knockout match because if Chivas doesn't get anything from this one, they are out. So the energy is going to be up, at least from the Chivas side, and they're going to bring a lot of people. They are, like we said, the home team in this match. So even though the Galaxy is at home, they will not be the home team. And again, the biggest thing that I can impress is that Chivas fans are rabid. I do have a good friend who's a Chivas fan. And I don't even think I've told you this story, but when we take Kobe to go visit, he loves Kobe, loves loving on Kobe. But one time we took Kobe over there, and Kobe had a yellow Adidog sweater, not Adidas, Adidog. So he had a yellow Adidog sweater on, and the homie refused to touch Kobe that day because he had America yellow on, and he's such a Chivista that he was like, I can't touch your dog today because he has the America yellow on. I was like, damn, that's deep. That's deep. It's like
That's
Bloods
a whole another level, man.
yeah, that's Bloods and Crips stuff right there, where you can't like even say certain consonants and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's going to be an atmosphere. And for the Galaxy to get something out of this match, I mean, who do you think is going to have to be the guy that day, Ananda?
Oh man, I mean, I look to the Killer Peas always, right? It's got to be one of those guys. I mean, it's probably if you were thinking about the transition, it's probably got to be Peck. He had a lot of really good chances actually the last match as well. Just couldn't finish it off. But man, that guy again, I have so much confidence in that guy, and I think he's starting to become, other than Dejan, one of our most clinical finishers on the team. You talked about it earlier. JP, he's been off his game, especially in those one-on-ones. And maybe that's sort of the player that he's always been, but he definitely hasn't been as clinical as the beginning of the year. So I'm going to look for Gabi, man, to finish off a lot of those chances. So yeah, I think probably Gabi for me. It's got to be the Killer Peas, though. This team will go as far as the Killer Peas goes. I think we all know that.
Yeah, it's true. I don't see too much wrong with that statement. Killer Peas go off, Galaxy do well. That's just the way it's going to be. And Matt says Gabriel Peck go crazy at home, baby. He has been going crazy.
He does.
I don't expect him to change that at all. If anything, I think we're gonna see a ramped up Gabriel Pecky. I mean, Gabriel Pecky comes from South America, where the international I guess credentials of Chivas are known, so he's probably going to go into this match with relish. So that brings us to predictions, Ananda. What you got? Because I went first last time.
I never go first, but chat always goes first. So XPH, he calls a 2-2 tie, but he said, wait, we can't have ties. So wait, did he say something about that?
Yeah, it says wait, I take my score back.
Totally forgot. So who wins in pens? XPH. I'm assuming the Galaxy, right?
He says 2-2, then penalties, and we win.
That's what I'm assuming. So, and then let's see. Alex says 3-1 G.
Oh, sorry, it's Chris. My bad. I was reading them back to back.
Chris says 2-1 G's up. Tony Toscano says Galaxy win in penalties. One and only Rocio says LA Galaxy wins 3-1. I mean, this is an away game, but it is at the Dig. It's kind of one of those weird things, but everyone's feeling confident, man. Big Matthew, 2-0, Peck and Paintsill goals. Yeah, and I'm going to go the same. I'm going to go to Galaxy win. I think this is going to be another. It's going to be a tight win, though. It's probably going to be like 2-1, I would say, 1-0. It's going to be a 1-goal game. I think we are going to come out with a stronger lineup than we think, Robert. I think if we do sub in those kids and Greg puts in that rotation, I think it'll be in the second half. It'll be in the second half, like after minute 50, minute 60. And again, it doesn't matter where the game state is. If we're chasing the game, if we're protecting elite, it doesn't matter. I think that's going to happen because of the low stakes that are involved in this game, right? Because like you said, that number 1 seed doesn't guarantee us a home tie. Either way, we're going to face probably either a Seattle or Minnesota in either case. So with that being said, it's going to be a tighter game just because I think we're going to start at the start of the lineup. But, they're a good team, man. Liga MX teams are always good teams no matter what. It's going to depend on whether Cade Cowell can finish. It's going to depend on whether Chicharito starts or not as well. But even though it's going to feel probably more like a Chivas home game than an LA Galaxy home game, unfortunately, we are going to pull out this win. I'm going to go back to what I said before the San Jose game. Our quality, our ability to pull these games out, our ability to finish in the final third, and maybe their inability to finish in the final third will be the difference. So I think, 1-0, 2-1, Galaxy win, though, in regulation. No pens.
I like that. I'm calling it 2-1 as well. It's Chris says, I'm calling it right now. Come back to the show. Mickey Yamane will score a goal. Hey, I would love to see that. He gets so happy.
Yeah.
He gets so happy whenever he scores or when he provides an assist. You can tell he loves playing for the team right now. The Digs is a fortress no matter what kind of games it is.
True statement.
Says Ramizes. Ramizes is also calling it 2-1. So it looks like the feeling is positive. The feeling is positive in the air that it's going to be a Galaxy win. Most people, even with the tie, are saying Galaxy wins in penalties, and that of course puts the Galaxy through to the round of 32, which we already know. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's kind of weird not knowing what's going to happen at this point. But what we do know so far is that the Galaxy will play on either Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday at home, potentially against Necaxa. Thursday on the road against Seattle or Minnesota. But no matter what happens against Chivas on Sunday, as usual, we'll bring you our Chivas post-match reaction pod the following Monday. So that'll be Monday, August 5th. And then on that day, we'll go ahead and update you guys on future shows because, of course, if the Galaxy play on Wednesday, we'll bring you our reaction pod on Thursday. If they play on Thursday, there will be no show because we'll be watching the Galaxy games. So, of course, we'll bring you those announcements. But I think that brings us to the end, Ananda. You got anything else to add before we get on out of here? Or as you like to say, you want to give the last word to chat, right?
I want to give the last word to chat, but I think chat's been so much on fire today. We've pulled up all their, like most of their comments because they, everyone is bringing up some good points that's really adding to a lot of our conversations. But, I do want to change maybe my prediction slightly, and this is more of a heart pick, but my heart desires a clean sheet, Robert. So I'm hoping it's 1-0 or 2-0. I think we need the clean sheet for, again, this is our conversation earlier, how we progress through this tournament, right? I think a clean sheet, even if it's 1-0 in a sloppier offensive display, will give us more confidence and sort of that mentality, those behaviors that we need, I think, to become an elite team and to become an MLS Cup or Cup winning team in general, right? Which is the next evolution of this team, which we've talked about on the show. So yeah, give me a clean sheet, man. That would fulfill my heart a lot better than giving up a goal.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. The homie Alex says blue, white, and gold pop up at Absolution on Saturday. We did bring you that in announcements. We did not mention, however, that Ananda and I will be there at the blue, white, and gold pop up, milling around and saying what's up. So if you catch us there, say what's up. We would love to chat and get to meet you. I mean, we see you guys in chat all the time, and it'd be lovely to put a name to a face.
And I stand corrected, Rob. The chat has last word. So XPH, thank you to us, and great show as always. Viewers and listeners, remember to hit the like button and subscribe and chat. And everyone on playback, I will leave you at that. Hit it up, guys.
Yeah. Like XPH and Ananda said, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you're here, it's because you found us at youtube.com/@LaCunaGalaxiana, and we thank you so much for it. And we thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and sharing in some good Galaxy talk with us. And man, it's a good time to be a Galaxy fan. First place in the West through the round of 32, off to play one of the storied clubs in Mexican soccer with no implications on the line, and just go out there and have fun. So I'm going to say the same thing to y'all. Go out there, have fun on Sunday, represent the colors, be smart, stay safe, and we'll see you on Monday. One thing left to say. G's up. You and I. Meow, 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 meow.